Welcome all to DeFi Crypto and Airdrops. I am Mike, aka Veteran Crypto, aka DeFi Crypto and Airdrops in the YouTube chats. But want to do this is a bit of an impromptu episode. I've been getting a lot of questions from the Discord and people that are new to DeFi about ranged and full range positions, as far as concentrated liquidity or just full range positions. So I wanted to go ahead and do a quick episode and explain just the basics. I don't want to get too complicated. I'm trying to keep this series very simple. So I'm not going to get into the grassroots of or the nitty gritty of the kind of what's behind how the pool move, how the assets get bought and sold out of. I'll get into it, but first let's go ahead and jump into. I always like to start with DeFi Llama. It's just a great way to get a feel for the DeFi market and the mood that's going on, the liquidity, how the liquidity is moving. Is there inflows? Is there outflows? Is everything primed to where it's a good time to open liquidity pools, or maybe should you be looking at holding back? I know that in my own personal wallet, I actually just closed out a wrapped ETH USDC position that I've had open for like 6, 7 months, just because I'm seeing signs, just like a lot of people out there, that ETH is getting ready to go on a run. I mean, it's already started kind of doing it a little bit, and so I don't necessarily want to be in that wrapped ETH position because I want to get full price appreciation. And then as ETH runs, I'm going to be DCAing out and into my favorite alts, Arrow, Plume, Kita, things like that. DAG, just plussing up those bags because historically, and that's all we can go off of is data. Historically, that's usually what happens. Bitcoin goes on its run, ETH goes on its run, then blue chips, and then of course, the rest of the alts, and then of course you get the degen stuff at the very end, and that's usually your signal to just get the hell out, get into stables, maybe get into some Bitcoin, and just call it a day. Sit back, get in some DeFi, earn some yield, and just wait for the markets to crash. That's what I'm doing. So anyway, let's jump right into it. So as you can see, I have in green, it's the DEX volumes. You can see that we are on an upswing. We are also on TVL, or total value locked. We have an upswing on that as well. We're pressing past 40 billion, working towards 50 billion of total TVL across all of DeFi. Very, very bullish. Any channel you watch, any press conference from here in the US that you watch, um, the Bitcoin conference, it was just repeatedly people talking about DeFi. If you are paying attention at all, you know that DeFi and RWAs is a huge narrative that everyone is talking about, and there is very few people in DeFi, and even fewer people that are teaching it. There's me and about three other people that are decent sized channels that are trying to teach, and three of those are they talk at such a high level, it's really hard to understand what they're talking about if you're new to DeFi. Great channels. If you once you get educated, once you get into DeFi, you're experienced, you're knowledgeable, super great channels to go after. Um, what is it? Crypto Labs Research, DeFi Dojo, and I forget the other guy's name, but really good high level, advanced strategies, DeFi strategies. But here we like to keep it simple, stupid. I want to just keep this as simple and easy as possible for all of you to understand so that you can wrap your head around how DeFi works, the basics of how DeFi works. Once you get that education and that knowledge, then we'll have advanced strategies here as well. But I always encourage people to watch different channels. Different people learn in different ways. Different people have different teaching styles, and you might learn better from somebody else. I know that's not a great pitch for my channel, but I want you to be successful. If it's with me, if it's a combination of me and somebody else, awesome. I just want you all to be successful and make money in DeFi. So with that, again, DeFi Llama, great tool. I believe it was episode 3. I talked about my DeFi toolbox. This is where I come to find out first thing in the morning when I'm drinking my tea in the morning. This is where I come to find out what's going on in the markets. Where's the liquidity going? Where am I going to earn the best fees? Pretty straightforward. And then, of course, we got good old RWA.xyz. This is just tokenization of real world assets. I'm a big investor in Plume and Ondo. This is what they are all about. I want to know, are we continuing? Is institutions continuing and governments to tokenize real world assets? And this is how you check that. You look right now we have 23.33 billion. We're up 3.21% from 30 days ago. Total asset holders were up 67% from 30 days ago. You're seeing growth. That's what we want to see. That is what is going to make us bullish on our projects is positive growth, positive interest, assets being moved on chain. That's what we want to see. Again, really good to look at. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into the topic. So once again, we are going to talk about full range. Actually, really quick, let's look at the comments. Sorry, Alexandria G, Doobie Doo, Ellie, K Jam, Victor, Granny's Garden, Kyle Watts, Tinkerbell, Wispy. Oh, yeah, appreciate you, hippie holder. Appreciate on Uniswap. So basically, just go to Uniswap. It's a Plume USDC pool. It's not earning that great right now. It's only at 14%. Historically, it was earning really well. Once Plume starts pumping, there's not a lot of places for people to buy it. It doesn't have a lot of major listings yet. So they have to trade for it, they have to swap for it. That is why I am so bullish on these plume pools. Whenever plume starts getting some attention and you start seeing a lot of movement in plume, you're gonna see the APRs on these things pump. So yeah, I mean, do what you want to do, but this is where I have been stacking. I started with $1,500 in plume. I now have over $5,000 in my bag of plume. So, DeFi is a great way to stack your bags. Let's see. Oh, Ellie. She's earning 105% on her full range plume position alone. All right. All right. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. All right. What else we got? Anybody else got any questions before we move on? Correct. There is no second best. All right. Oh, Wispy, I know you. I know you're playing. I know you're playing Wispy. You know that we've explored the Plume ecosystem. If you mean since the mainnet launch, you know what? At the end of this, I'll show the Plume. Let's see. I will show just as a little bit of a teaser. I will show the Plume portal, and I'll go through a little bit of the Plume portal for you. But let's get back on task here. So, full range and ranged positions. I'm going to try to break this down as simply as possible. So, full range positions, just like it sounds, it is basically where you will actually, you know what, and let's pull this up real quick. So, as you can see here, this is a full range position. My plume position here. That's why I'm still in range because anybody that's been watching plume, it was holding 15 cents really, really well. And down here, you can see My minimum level is at 15 cents. My max level was at 25 cents. This is a full range position. So that means no matter what the price of the asset does, I am in range. I'm not earning as much as. So you can see here that no matter what this does, it is going to keep an equal amount of USDC and Plume. So if the price of Plume goes up, it's going to DCA or sell Plume into USDC to keep a 50-50 balance of those two assets so that I keep earning. Because what you're doing by providing liquidity is allowing people to swap between those two assets. So if they're trying to swap USDC for Plume, like they will once Plume starts pumping, then basically they are going to be selling their USDC to buy Plume. You are providing that liquidity. So it's going to keep a balance of those two in this full range position. All right. So actually, let's go back to here. So, I mean, that's as simply as I can explain a full range position. If the price goes to zero, you're still earning fees as long as people are doing swaps. And if the price pumps to $1 million, 2 million, 3 million, doesn't matter. You are still going to be earning fees. But again, you're earning less fees. The APR is lower. So, do with that as you will. Now, a ranged position. This is my Plume ranged position. As you can see here, my minimum price is 15 cents. As illustrated right here, you can see this light gray area is my range. So 15 cents is the bottom of my range. 0.249, or basically 25 cents, is the top of my range. So while it was in between, what the price of Plume was in between those two, 15 cents and 25 cents, I was earning fees. However, when it dropped out the bottom, 15 cents, I stopped earning fees and I was all in on Plume. As you can see up here, I have $2,574.75 of Plume. I have 21,835 Plume tokens. So as the price was going down, it was buying Plume with USDC. If the price would have gone up to the top of the range, it would have been DCAing or slowly selling Plume on the way up until at the top of the range, I was all in on USDC. I hope that makes sense. Let me know in the chat. So again, Plume USDC pool, a stable crypto pool. As the price goes down, you are getting DCA'd into the crypto asset. As it is pumping up, it is DCAing you out of the crypto asset into the stable asset. Again, this is for Plume and in USDC in this case, or a crypto asset and a stable coin. I hope that makes sense. All right. So let's actually see if we can pull up. So this is a little bit of a graphic here. Let's see. Go to Plume's mainnet partner Roost, and there's pools in there. Absolutely, Wispy. There 100% is. Uniswap, right? Yes, it is on Uniswap. Yes, I figured that's what you meant, Wispy, after the launch. Thank you, Alexandria. Yes, please subscribe, like, and share. We run this channel 100% free. We don't have sponsors. We don't take super chats. We don't ask you to buy memberships. We don't ask for anything. We do this 100% free for love of the game. I just love DeFi. I understand how hard it is to learn this stuff and just want to help you all out. Jay-Z, what up? I grabbed the USDT 10 and wrapped Bitcoin on Unichain. Yes. Doobie Doo. That is a really those are good pools to get into. Those incentivized pools on Unichain. You get some good bonuses on those. Oh, Wispy put some PUSD, which is Plume's stablecoin, and Plume on Rooster. I might have to check that out. Remind me at the end, Wispy. We'll go check that out and see what it's earning. Um, had to dip at the end of the basement. So if the all right, here we go. So if the coin pumps and does not return inside the trading ranges and it is pushed you to USDC, then will we get left behind? Yes. Deadwood, yes. If you that's thank you. So if you go out of range, here, let me throw some ranges on here. So let's call that, and let's say that this is a range that we're in, just because we've popped out of the range. So in this case, this is wrapped ETH USDC. You can see it ranged for all this time. Could have been earning all this time, but it's popped out the top. So in this case, you would have been like when it was down here at the bottom, you would have been all in on wrapped ETH. Now, as it moved towards the top, it started selling off that wrapped ETH into USDC. And at the top of the range, you are all in USDC. If this keeps pumping and keeps going up to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, you're just hodling USDC and you're not earning yield. That's why it's important that you understand what I'm trying to explain here. Either you need to be in a full range position to where you'll consistently get fees and price appreciation, not all the price appreciation, however. It is going to be muted. Something else to understand. But that is why it's important to understand, like with ETH right now, potentially ETH is about to go for a hard run. That's why I closed out my wrapped ETH USDC position. So this one here, those of you that have been watching me for a while, um, you know that for the past, like since I started DeFi like 7 months ago, I had a wrapped ETH USDC position up here on top. I actually closed that out once I was all in on USDC. I extracted my liquidity into uh, into wrapped ETH. So actually, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. So you can see right here, I have 1.81 ETH, or $5,200 worth of ETH. That is what I had in that pool. And I've been stacking wrapped ETH. I've been taking my fees earned in wrapped ETH as well, because I feel, like I said, like many, that ETH is about to go for a run. But back to the point. So I got out of my range position because I didn't want to be locked in and miss out on the ETH pump. That is why I could, yes, enter into another, full range position on ETH, or another range position and earn on ETH. However, the pools that I like right now aren't really earning that great of yield to counteract what I would be missing out on for price appreciation. And I won't get into the math, but whenever you are pumping, like say I'm, again, in this range, down here at the bottom, I'm all in ETH. As the price moves up, again, it is DCAing or selling that wrapped ETH into USDC. As it's doing that, you're not getting full price appreciation because you're 100% into wrapped ETH. You are slowly, getting DCA'd out into USDC. So I want to get full price appreciation on ETH. As ETH pumps, when we start hitting, the 4,000 level, I'll probably start selling off my wrapped ETH and into alt bags or blue chips that I feel are going to pump next. Again, this is just my strategy. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is what I'm doing. I'm just going off of historical data. Bitcoin, ETH, large cap blue chips, and then the rest of the alts is usually how it goes. Is that how it's going to go this time? I don't know. I I'm hedging my bets. I have some in ETH. I have some that I've been stacking. Plume and Ondo and all those. Um, we'll see what happens. But let's see if we have any more questions. Great question, Deadwood. I appreciate it. And please, by all means, if you're watching on X right now, come over to YouTube. If you have any questions, ask all the questions you want. I love questions. It's again why I'm here. I want to help you all learn. All right. Uniswap is not working with me. They don't show me the plume pool. Well, here, I'll show you real quick. Let's do this. All right. Well, sorry about that. Not sure exactly what happened. Hold on. Let me fix my fucking video now. Had a freaking crash. All right. Let's see. All right. Hold on. Give me 1 second to get resituated here. I'll fix my camera here in a second once it's done booting back up. Oh, hold on. Test. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Chat, can you hear me? All right, cool. Loud and clear. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened, but let's get back into this. I'll fix my like I said, I'll fix my camera. Yeah, Houston, we have a problem. All right, ignore my camera for a minute while it finishes booting back up. But as you can see, this is Uniswap. So you come up here to the top, and you can see there's Plume, but you can just type in Plume, and it will pop up, and it will bring up Plume. Now scroll down, and down here you'll see transactions, and you'll see pools. Just click on pools. And then here's the pools. So right now, Plume is, this V3 pool is earning 118%, really good TVL. And I don't know about like what fees that they're earning right now. But that's something that you can go look at. But that's basically how you find the Plume pools. All right, let's see if that fixed my camera. How annoying. All right, cool. Camera fixed. All right. So, yes, that is how you find the Plume pool. All right. So, let's go back to Ju- All right. So, we're trying to bring up Deck Screener real quick because I want to finish explaining these ranges. Let's close that out. Close that out. Son of a bitch. My computer is struggling. All right. For the technical difficulties. Need to check out my computer. So, let's see if we can get Deck Screener to pop up because I really want to finish telling you about these positions. One thing I did not touch on, however, is the if it's a crypto pair. So let's actually go over to here. So if like say that you are looking at a wrapped Bitcoin wrapped ETH position. So this is a little bit different because it has to do with how correlated or how well the assets move together. Because if it's like say in that wrap ETH USDC position, obviously USDC is a stable coin. It doesn't move in price. The wrap ETH does move in price. Good Lord. I really need Deck Screener to work so that I can give you some visuals. So, it's easier to wrap your head around wrapped ETH moving relative to USDC. So again, if wrapped ETH, if the price goes up, USDC is stable. If it goes down, USDC is stable. So the way that it buys and sells each of the assets is pretty straightforward. However, if you have two volatile assets, let's actually bring up DeFi Llama real quick, and I'll show you a tool that I use. So this is a correlations matrix. And what this is used for is I'm going to get Deck Screener to load in the background while I explain this. This is how well two crypto assets move relative to each other. So if you like say that this it automatically loads with these. Say that you want to add. So like, we'll just add XRP, we'll add Solana, we'll add Tron. Say that there's something that you don't see here that you want to add. Let's add Plume. You can add Plume, and basically it adds all of those to the matrix. Now, say that in the past month you want to see if two assets are moving well together. Because if they're moving well together, they're going to stay in range more. If you have an asset like say wrapped ETH and regular ETH. Obviously they're both, pegged to the price of ETH. They are going to be a perfect match. You can see if I add wrapped ETH, then you're going to see that wrapped ETH and regular ETH is a perfect one. That is, they are perfectly correlated for obvious reasons. However, if you look at, say, XRP and wrapped ETH, it is 0.25. That isn't that great of a correlation. And then of course you can start getting into like Plume and Tron, or TRX. You have a negative correlation. That means that one is pumping and one is dumping. And so they're constantly going to be out of range. So you're not going to be earning yield. So correlation on a crypto liquidity pair is key to understanding, staying in range. So let's see if all right, cool. Perfect. All right, finally. All right. So, you can see, let's do this real quick. Let's go to let's actually pull this one up. So, here's a little bit of alpha for you. So, here in VFAT, this is a an aggregator tool that I use. So, if you find a pool that you like, you can go down here and you can see the contract address. You can click on that and copy it. Come over here to Deck Screener, tap in the search, paste that address in the search, and you can see you got a wrapped ETH, wrapped Bitcoin pair. You can click on it, and it will show you the chart. So you can see, because there is a little bit of TA when you're doing a ranged position. Obviously, you're looking for lines of support and lines of resistance. So in this case, say that this is where we're at currently. I would probably pick something like this as my line of support. Here in the back here, you can see it bounced off. It's been respecting that level. Here it kind of bounced off. And let's put another one. If I wanted to have, maybe a narrower range for a better APR, you can see this is a line of resistance. This one's support. This one's resistance. It had come up, it almost tested there. It did test there. Almost tested there. Did test there. Did test there. Broke out past it, but came back down. Broke out here. Flipped it to support. Bounced off. Bounced off. And then came down. Retested this as resistance. Came back down. So you can kind of see that this is a decent range that we could be in right now. So if we came over to here and we wanted to select a range, that is what we would use. To basically dial in. You can see here, on this pool, this wrapped Bitcoin wrap, that's the chart that we were just in. So let's actually go here. And let's see how well they are correlated. All right. So we have wrapped ETH and wrapped Bitcoin. So they have a 0.59, a green 0.59 correlation. Not great, but not bad. It's a decent correlation, but that's on the month. In the past 7 days, they have had a almost perfect correlation. In DeFi, unless there's really good fees being earned, I look more long term. So I usually stick to the 1 month or potentially 1 year. That's just me. If you might want to get in and out of a liquidity pool, say it's something like Kita. Kita has been earning really, really good fees because of the attention it's been getting. people trying to swap for it. So, recently, you could get into Kita and you could make some really good money fast, in a week or two. So you might look at the 7 day. But for longer term play, I would suggest going for the month, over here. Not necessarily going for the shorter term, and especially on a wrapped ETH Bitcoin pair. Um, just my 2 cents. So again, you know those levels that we were just looking at, of support and resistance, is how I pick my ranges. You go back to VFAT, you can adjust your ranges here. Oh, sorry. You can adjust your ranges here. And as you can see, as I am adjusting the ranges, this APR is changing. The more narrow I make that range, the higher the APR. However, again, the narrower the range, the more likely it is going to go out of range. And no matter what the APR is, you're not earning fees. So these are all things that you need to take into account. Me personally, I have the foundation of my portfolio is in full range positions and lending because I like good, steady income from my DeFi portfolio. Earning yield 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without having to sit at my computer and look at these ranges. Um, I can be out, on the property doing work. I just got back from California. Was down there, was checking out the riots and stuff. But I went to a comedy show. Didn't have to worry. I was constantly earning fees, constantly earning money. It's like having a small business with no employees, no overhead. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing when you build out your portfolio right. However, I do have range positions because I want the higher APRs. I want the higher fees. You can see that in my portfolio here. Let me connect my wallet real quick. It'll take a minute to come up, but I do have range positions, and it's usually in whatever asset is hot at the moment, and one that I am wanting to stack a bag of. It Another really important thing to think about when you get into these pools, let's see, is this the DeFi rules. Choosing a liquidity pool, believe in the assets. I do not enter into liquidity pools like meme tokens and stuff like that. I don't care what the APR is. I don't care what the fees are. That's just me personally. You do you. Um, I want to know that if I am in a liquidity pool and it just tanks and goes out of range towards the bottom, that I am comfortable hodling whatever that asset is. If it's USDC wrapped ETH and it goes out the bottom and I'm all in on wrapped ETH, awesome. I am okay with hodling wrapped ETH. If it's double dong Inya, meme token, I am not interested in long term holding double dong token. Sorry, just not not my thing. I'm not gonna hodl a meme coin. It's most likely going to go to zero. Odds are. There's exceptions. Won't get into that, but believe in the assets. It makes it a lot easier to not constantly rebalance or to constantly be messing with that pool if you're confident. If and if you have those full range pools and those lending pools that are earning you yield, so that you're still earning. All your eggs aren't in that basket that's at a range. But believe in the assets. Very important. A good strong TVL. I like $250,000 or more in total value locked in a pool. It allows you to get in and out of the pool without worrying about slippage, or having any liquidity issues as far as getting in and out of that pool. 24-hour volume equal to or greater than the TVL. I like to see that because it means that there's a lot of people swapping. And that's how you're making your fees is through volume. It can have a 10,000% APR, but if nobody is swapping between those assets, there's no fees to earn. So volume is just as important as APR, if not more so. Trusted decks, Aerodrome, Uniswap, Aave, things like that. Good, solid, trusted dexes. Do not chase APR, to obscure, dexes that potentially could get hacked, could get rug pulled, whatever, because your liquidity goes with it. It happened with Celsius, and that wasn't a fly by night dex either. Again, high correlation. Back to correlation. You want to have a highly correlated asset pairs. Crypto asset pairs. You want them to move together. If they move together, if they're pumping together, you're going to stay in range. You're not going to move out of range because they are pumping together. It's only when they move opposite each other that you start moving towards the upper limit or bottom limit. Whichever one is stationary or going down, it's going to DCA you into that one. It's just how it works. If whatever asset is pumping, it's going to be DCAing you out of. So again, you want them to be correlated or moving together. Important. All right. Let's see. So you can see here are my three positions. So wrapped ETH KTA. Again, this is a crypto asset pair. And as KTA pumps, it is going to sell my KTA into wrapped ETH. And if KTA pumps, this is going to go towards the bottom end. If wrapped ETH pumps, it's going to go towards the top end. And as of late, we can go and we can look and we can see KTA and ETH right now are somewhat moving together, on the hour. On the 24-hour, not so much, but they both have positive movement. So it is helping it stay in range. If KTA was dumping and ETH was pumping, again, I would move out of range and stop earning fees. So, again, very important to understand. All right, let's check the chat real quick. Doesn't look like anybody has any questions, which I find odd. Let me know if you guys are still there, or if I'm talking to myself. Let's see. Somebody dropped something in the chat, so I know that you guys are still here. All right. Well, I'm showing live on X, so we'll keep plugging along. So, but it doesn't look like the chat's working. So I apologize for all the technical difficulties. Um, let's see. What else can I touch on? Man, I wish the chat was working because I really. All right, hold on one second. I'm going to refresh. All right, there we go. I can see the chat now. Let me reshare everything. Let me fix my video. All right, there we go. All right, I can see the chat. Avoid losing on gains such as ETH going up. Yes, that is exactly it. I Find an interesting pool together, question mark. Yeah, we can do that. Food is life. I'm doing great. Food is life. Again, I'm always doing great. I'm retired. I live in the woods. I homestead. I do DeFi, and yeah, I'm just enjoying life. All right, Castle still here. I'm listening and learning. Awesome. Here I'm here. Eyes. Awesome. Perfect. So let me know if you have any questions. If anything that I put out isn't clear. But let me summarize real quick. So again, full range positions doesn't matter what the price is doing. It can, in this case, wrapped ETH and Bitcoin. If I was in a full range position on this, I would just be earning, a steady yield. It would keep an equal amount of each of the assets. I might only be earning, 20, 30, 40%, but that's a great return. And that's why I built out my portfolio with a lot of full range positions is it keeps me in range and keeps me earning. This is what I'm going to be doing in the bear market, when the market's dumping, things like that. I'm going to be in full range positions because I want to make sure that I am always earning yield. My goal with my DeFi is to earn monthly, daily, weekly, monthly, annual residual income. In fact, I will show you my tracking sheet. Those of you that are interested, um, joining our Discord is down in the description and here on the channel. Uh, you can join our Discord, and you have our DeFi library. So I'm about to show you this. It's the DeFi portfolio allocation. It's basically your DeFi portfolio tracker. And then I have also a bull run bag and ladder out strategy that we offer for free in the Discord. You can join, our dedicated one, or in the Discover Investments group. You can come in here, and in the DeFi starters is the free section. All of this BitLab trading hub is all free, but the DeFi starters, you can scroll to the top, and they are in there as well. So real quick, let me show you my DeFi portfolio tracker. It will give you a better idea of it will give you a better idea of what I am talking about. All right. So this is my DeFi portfolio tracker. So you can see I have about just shy of $30,000 in my DeFi portfolio, and I have about 55K. I'm very transparent here. I don't. I'm not one of those that I'm going to hide, what I'm earning or try to make it look like I'm earning millions of dollars or anything like that. I am all about integrity. I'm all about just being transparent and honest. If I lose money in a pool, I'll let you know. If it doesn't perform well, I'll let you know. This is all about all of us learning together. So, $30,000. But you can see currently off that $30,000, I am earning $7,145 a month, or $238 a day. And that translates to $85,742 a year. That's pretty damn good. I mean, for, just magic money that just shows up that you just constantly farm, basically I just come over here. I mean, this is just some of my positions, but you can see in the past day off of 2,400 bucks, I earned $100, with this wrapped ETH KTA position. I'm probably going to harvest that here soon, and I'm going to harvest it into ETH because I feel like ETH is about to pump next. I want to put this where I'm going to earn the most, and I already have a huge bag of KTA. So I'm kind of done stacking that. I have $5,000 worth of KTA. I want to put it into the fastest horse. And I see ETH being the fastest horse here in the short term. And if I'm wrong, again, I have $5,000 of KTA, and a bunch of money in Arrow and a bunch of money in, Ondo and, all these other plays that we're always talking about. So that's the key is while I'm harvesting, this earned yield, I'm constantly stacking bags with it because we haven't seen the alt season yet. So I want to stack these bags as deep as possible. So all of this, this earned, I have $121 here. I have another 25 bucks up here. If I go over to my plume pools, where are they at? Did I lose it? Anyway, I have a couple $100 over on Uniswap that I am, earning, that I'm earning yield on. It's just I have, all these little pools, and they're all just trickling in yield, and they add up to a couple $100 a day right now. The markets aren't making, huge movements currently. We haven't had a huge alt season, but the whole time that we were dumping and moving sideways, I've just been stacking. I mean, I started out with 15 grand. As you can see, I now have 30 grand and we haven't even pumped yet. This 30 grand, once the markets move and Arrow goes from 50, 60 cents back up to $2.20, and some of these assets that we've been stacking through this dump and through this sideways action, this crabbing, all of those, my DeFi portfolio is going to pump. I'm going to get some a price appreciation, as well as earning more fees. This, 30,000, my DeFi portfolio very easily could be 100 grand plus. And if I'm earning, $7,000 on $30,000, if this 3, 4, 5 X's, potentially my monthly DeFi income could also 3, 4, 5X. And my daily 3, 4, 5X. I could be earning thousands instead of hundreds of dollars a day. This is the power of DeFi. This is why it is so important that if you're a day trader, awesome. If you have that skill, hats off to you. I don't. I know enough to make my ranged positions. I know where to find lines of support and resistance. I suck at trading. I hope that you all do well with it. DeFi just makes more sense to me. But if you can have some, money in DeFi earning for you and some money, that you're day trading with and some hodl bags, and some other plays, and you're diversified like that, you are going to do very, very well in crypto. I can't stress this enough. Don't just pigeonhole yourself into one place. Definitely always be working on your toolkit. I'm trying to learn how to trade. I'm just not good at it. So, I'm going to keep at it, but with very small amounts of money. So, let's go to the questions. Let's see what we got here. Jay Z. No, ask your question, Jay Z. I mean, if you feel it's important or not. I want to appreciate it, Ellie, putting the Discord link. But yeah, that Discord is. I'm all about free speech. It's whatever goes in there. The Discover Investment Group, that one we keep a little more, PG-13. Please keep it clean in there. That's not ours. That's Discover Cryptos. So, by all means, you're welcome to join both, but just know where you're at. How do you like that wrapped ETH KTA pool? I've been loving it. I started out with, I believe it was $800, and I now have about 5 or 6 grand worth of Kita, because the past 2 weeks it has just been pumping out yield. I mean, it has been basically what Plume was doing for the past months. Kita has been doing, and tomorrow I'll be doing a live stream. The reason that Kita dumped a bit was there were some questions that they were faking the speed of their, and there were some legitimate people that came out and said that they saw data that's Kita in response. They are, let's this one here. So this will be live streaming. It's a basically Kita with Google Cloud, and they're going to have some third party people in there. They are going to do a live stress test at 9 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow, and I'm going to live stream that, and that is going to be a make or break moment, I think, for Kita because they are claiming a 10 million uh, you know transactions per second (TPS), which is massive. That is a massive amount of throughput. So, if they can prove that they are capable of that, it's going to be a make moment. However, if they can't, potentially Kita could dump. Again, I like being 100% transparent here. I, you know, do I have a bag of it? Absolutely. Do I want it to pump? Absolutely. But I'm not going to shill it. I have earned a lot of liquidity with the wrapped ETH, KTA pool. Um, Again, I am not a maxi on anything. Even Aerodrome, as much as I talk about it, Plume, as much as I talk about it, I'm not a maxi on them. I've just looked at the fundamentals and believe in the project. I've looked at the fundamentals of Kita, and it looks like an interesting project. We've done some deep dive episodes on it. However, I do not marry my bags. Again, as things pump, I will be DCAing out. My bull run, my bull run, strategy here. My ladder out strategy. I have, my different, bags. Actually, what happened? Hold on. Oh, that's the copy. Sorry. Let's share it. There we go. So this is my. I need to update it, but this is my portfolio. I put in all of my tokens. I have it automatically updates. Again, this is free in our Discord. This is all automated. When you click on these, it has this formula up here. All you need to do is like say you don't have arrow, say that you have something else. So actually, we'll put KTA down here because I haven't added that yet. So basically, what I would do is you can just click on that, drag it down. It will automatically copy the formula. And so this one, you come up to here, and in this little section here where it has the ticker, you just change the ticker. In this case, KTA. Oh, hold on. What happened here? What happened here? Let's capitalize it. All right, there we go. So it has to be capitalized. So that's the ticker. The live price right now is $1.33. I have, let's just say 5,000 tokens. Do and the value. So let's do this. There we go. The value is 6,650. And so then we'd have to change this because it needs to include all the way down to 616. All right. So you can see that there's some formulas in here, and if you need some help, let me know. But it's pretty straightforward. But anyway, this will give you an idea of your current value of your portfolio, and then this will actually you can put in here your total tokens, what percentage you want to sell at different levels. Like in this case, my Casper, I want to sell 15% at 10 cents, which would be 107,250 tokens. And that value, if it reaches 10 cents, will be 10,725, which is my initial investment. My first take profit on all of my positions are to get my initial investment out. Then you're just playing with the house's money. It's a lot easier to be unemotional if you get your initial investment out and put it to the side in USDC or USDT or another stable. And then you can DeFi it if you want and earn 5, 10, 20%. And just let the market play out. As you're DCAing out, I personally am going to be going into stable pools and lending. Just, while other people are trading and doing all the stuff that they're going to be doing, I'll still be earning yield. I'll still be earning dry powder. I'll still be building my stable bags. I want to get out at the end of this bull run and have about, and this is my goal. My ladder out total, if I hit all my price points, is going to be almost $600,000. My goal over here, you can see, my goal is I want to have $500,000. That's my goal. Because if I can have $500,000 and I can earn just 10% on that in stable coins, that is $50,000. Simple math. 500,000 in liquidity. I can earn 10% a year. That's $50,000. That gives me a couple of grand a month. After taxes and everything. I, maybe I've, 500,000, 500,000. There we go. Um, then I can just compound that back in to those pools, to keep earning more and more and more, all through the bull market. And when the bear market hits and everything crashes, I'm in stables. I don't have to worry about the price of ETH or Bitcoin or KTA or whatever. I will be all in on stables and earning yield on that. Thousands of dollars a month. If you're just earning hundreds or a couple, that's still free money that you can sit there and stack, as the market dumps. While the market's dumping and everyone else is panicking and round tripping bags, you're all in on stables. And whenever, after that year or so of, dumping down, you can start, moving some of that dry powder into Bitcoin, into ETH, into, whatever you're bullish on at that time. Because a lot of these projects are going to pull back. And if they do, and I'm going to keep, 10% in Ondo and I'll keep 10% in Plume and, some of these projects that I'm more bullish on, I'll keep a small, long-term bag of them just in case they keep going. Because, I mean, who knows? A lot's changed. Institutions are, are constantly, entering into the market. They're constantly buying. They're constantly building. Regulation is getting drafted. A lot of things have changed. We are moving from a speculative market into a utility market. As these institutions are building out, these different projects and these different offerings, these tokenized asset, investment pools and things like that, that you're seeing. These things are potentially going to change these market cycles. Before where we saw these, 90% pullbacks in the market, it might just be 70 this time. It might be 50. I mean, Bitcoin, the way that it's being adopted, we're not going to see the pullbacks. The more that crypto is adopted, the more regulation that gets drafted, the more, the higher the market cap gets, the harder it's going to be for these market makers to manipulate the market. And, those heat maps that you see, the liquidation levels that, drew over blockchain basement, over on Discover Crypto, these other channels, those heat maps, those liquidation heat maps, you're going to see less and less of these market makers being able to manipulate the markets like they do. It's not going to be as easy. So that this market has become less and less volatile. And with less volatility, it's going to stabilize a lot of these prices. And that's why it's so important that we're in early and that that we're stacking our bags and have long-term hodl bags. But you want to make sure that you're taking profits. And as ETH, let's actually take a look and see what's going on right now in the markets. As you see, Looks like we've been dumping a little bit. Aerodrome pulled back about 2% on the hour. Kita pulled back. ETH pulled back a little bit. All right. No, looks like we pulled back a little bit, but not worried. All right. So let's do this real quick. Sorry, I had to change up my VPN. Um, if you are new to crypto, or maybe you've been in a while, and actually, hold on, let me find. All right. VPNs are important. It's will help you mask your IP address. I use Nord personally. Again, I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not getting paid by them. It's just who I use. But it masks your IP address, keeps you from getting hacked. And so what I just did is I just changed my location because the Plume portal, if you're in the US, you can't interact with it because of regulatory, regulations. US regulations doesn't allow it. So let's connect to it. As promised, we'll close out this episode with exploring the Plume portal. All right. So actually, you know what? I need to do my daily spin. So you can see I have 1,175 Plume points. Um, I have $121 that I used to go to. So if you go to level up, and if you're bullish on Plume or just want to learn about the different projects that are already built out on Plume, the DeFi protocols, this is a great way to learn about it. And this is what Wispy was talking about. So basically, you just start here on this rocket. You can click on it. I've already done it, but you can earn 50 points by going through this. So you can bridge to Plume. I already completed it, but basically, you just come here, hit bridge, and you can bridge between assets. You can see that it's something that I already did. So obviously, it's not going to give me credit for it again. Then after you bridge, then you mint over into Plume stablecoin PUSD, and it will show completed. Then you can swap on Rooster, and so Rooster protocol is just a DeFi protocol that is built out on Plume. You can add liquidity. Here is the pools there. You can do active, high volume, which high volume, hell yeah. Um, this is the highest volume. It's USDC PUSD. This might coming soon. Sorry. Um, so let's see if you can actually deposit. So TVL 1 million, good TVL. Current epoch volume is 3.6 million, really good volume. And current epoch fees is only 1.8 thousand. Not great fees, um, but you can see it's building. So mainnet just went live, so that's something to keep in mind. So this will be building, but this is a stable coin to stable coin pair. So depending on, I might have to test this out. So anyway, let's get back over to here. So yeah, basically just by doing that, by doing a swap on Rooster, it will show that it's completed. Then you swap on ambient completed, and once you complete them all, then you get the plume points. So, that's just this one here. Then you can do this one, and it will take you through, like, Nest, which is another protocol. You can boost real world assets by providing liquidity on our dexes. I did that, and then of course you have your spin. So let's go down to more, and I will show my daily spin, and let's see what I get. So here we go. Throw up the spin. It's going to ask me. It cost me 2 plume. Let's see what I get. All right. So I won 56 raffle tickets. So the raffle tickets you can use to add down here to I put it in for the Apple Vision Pro. You can see I have 40 tickets in on that. They have a BYD Seal fully electric sports sedan. You can put tickets in on that. You can put tickets in for the drone, for a Nintendo Switch 2. There's a lot of different prizes that you can put it in. Why not? I'll add some tickets to this one. Let's see if I can win a car. Chances are I won't with just 56 tickets, but who knows? So I got 56 tickets on the car. I got 40 tickets on the Apple Vision Pro, and I've earned a bunch of points. Towards on each of the spins, I won 100 points. That goes towards this week's prize of 6,000 plume. So maintain a 2-day spin streak to qualify. I have a 7-day streak right now, so I'm in it. Hopefully, I can win a free 6,000 plume. But you can explore the plume ecosystem. Again, this is in the portal. You can look at bridges. This is all the different bridges that are built out on Plume. Here are the dexes. Ambient, Camelot, Curve, Izumi, Raven, Rooster, Stratus. All of these are all different dexes. You have derivatives at Satori, WooFi, and Cultured. You can earn. All different places that you can earn. There's some gaming. Not a thing I'm much into. Launch pads, lending. You got Morpho again, another project that we're on this channel that we're bullish on. More. You got Osprey, MetaStreet, Credible, but all of these. These are places that you can go earn, but they all are built out or include Plume. So again, I've been having some issues on the regular Morpho app. I for some reason can't get it to pull up. I can get it to pull up on Morpho Lite though. So I don't know if any of you out there are having issues with Morpho. I've tried everything, but can't seem to get it to work. I've found ways around it, but yeah. So this is the Plume portal. Again, you can bridge here, you can swap here, you can stake. Me personally, I'm not staking. The APY is not great. I can earn a lot better in liquidity pools. Again, earn free points by going through these. What those points are going to get you, I don't know. But again, and then you got Royoko, which is something that you'll learn about. When you're going through and doing those tasks, but you can earn on Plume. Right now, you can on Royco USDC, you can earn 7.2%. Royco Bitcoin and ETH is coming soon, but you can see, this is all, different pools that you can, or vaults that you can deposit liquidity into and just earn passive yield. So much going on with Plume. I know that the price is has just been kind of going down or sideways, and it hasn't been doing much. Doesn't affect anything fundamentally that's going on with Plume. Everything that I was bullish on Plume before, I'm even more bullish on now. With mainnet that has gone live, all of the different, the 180 plus projects being built out on Plume, most of which are already live. Um, who is invested in Plume, who is investing in Plume, all of it. Super, super bullish. Partnerships with Ondo, their Arc, Plume's tokenization platform is about to go live, where in a matter of minutes you'll be able to take any real world asset and bring it on chain, using the Arc platform. I just see nothing but positive things for Plume. So do your own research, but I'm just going to continually stack my Plume bags. Let's see if there's any questions before we close this out. My KTA pools are, I have one that's full range and one that, let me pull it up real quick. Actually, no, sorry. Both of them are ranged. Um, so again, I just am wanting to earn as much as possible on KTA. Tomorrow, I am expecting. I'm not an expert, but I am expecting that the stress test is going to go well. Again, join us 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join us for that, and we'll be watching the price of and see what it does to KTA. Are we going to pump or are we going to dump? It's going to be a make or break moment. So let's see. That is about all I have. Do you have a custom range one? Trying to figure out what Vet's custom range plus or minus is set to. So my plus or minus on this one, that is the narrower of the two ranges, is a 24% range. So it's plus 12 minus 12 is my range. So you can see down here that, let me see if I can zoom in on it a little bit. So you can see it's a 24% range. And it's been staying in range pretty well. And I'm earning an APR of about 2,000%. So again, this is just the range that I have set off of lines of support and resistance. That's all I do on these ranged pools. Ellie, do you have a custom range one trying to? Oh, okay. So hope that answered your question, Wispy. Let me zoom out on this. So that's what's kind of long story short. That is a very basic course on the difference between full range and ranged positions. I know that there's a lot of other stuff I talked about during this episode, but I definitely want to try to, any of these lessons that I give, I want to put some real world application into, after I explain it, kind of show what it is that we're talking about. In the military, we, see, I'm going to mess it up. I'm not even going to use it, but it's basically where you sit in a classroom, you learn about it. They have you do a hands-on to where you actually learn by doing. And then the best way to ensure that you fully understand a topic is to teach it. So if you can learn it, do it, teach it, then you have a full grasp. So I highly encourage you all to go out there and to learn more about these ranged and full range positions, concentrated liquidity and full range positions. Here on the channel, I like to call full range positions AMMs. I know it's probably not the proper way of doing it, but automated market makers, it's just easier for me to remember. If it's a full range, it's an AMM. If it's a concentrated liquidity position, it has a range. You're concentrating your liquidity into a specified range to earn yield. So with that, if we don't got any more questions, I will sign off. Let's take a look at the markets real quick. Make sure nothing crazy is going on. Nope. All right. So with that, I hope you all learned something out there. Please like the stream. Follow us. DeFi, crypto, and airdrops on YouTube. Follow me on X. Join the Discord. We're always happy to answer questions in the Discord. You know, love helping people. Love teaching people. Um, you know, those of you that are learning DeFi, by all means, jump in, help people out. We're a community. I don't want everyone to just be waiting for me to give out information. I really want to build a strong community. We're gonna start doing weekly calls. I did one the other week, and only one person showed up. Everybody said that they wanted me to do a live call in the Discord, and then none of you showed up. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But I'm going to be doing maybe I'll do one tonight, but just a place where everyone can kind of show their pools, show what they're doing, show how they're finding good pools. Again, I don't want to be the one that's constantly putting out the alpha. I want all of you to share what you're learning as well. If there's any of you out there that are really good with these Excel spreadsheets that I was showing, these right here, I would love to chat with you. I really want to tweak up and customize these sheets to be more automated. So if any of you out there are Excel wizards, please reach out to me in the Discord. Would love to collaborate with you. And with that, till next time, Veteran Crypto out.